direct indexing is a hot topic for advisors right now, but how and where should they be implementing them in a well-diversified portfolio? Joined today by Avita Sukhram to discuss just that. Avita, welcome.
Thank you.
So Avita, let's level set first.
Yeah.
What is direct indexing?
So direct indexing is effectively an investment strategy. It can be executed mostly in today's world through an index SMA. So the popular constructs that we know of being able to execute separate accounts is basically how you make an index investable. And what you're able to do is customize that index to your client's needs. And you can take the underlying weights, constituents, construction of any index in theory, and be able to take your client's needs and bring those two things together. That ultimately creates a personalized portfolio based on an index.
Now, how is that being used by most advisors right now?
Currently, as I said, it's mostly for high net worth investors or ultra high net worth investors that are looking for tax managed strategies, right? So you're talking about tax efficiency on loss harvesting or even gain harvesting. But that's really where the industry has been over the last 30 years. There are a couple of SMA players, big asset managers that have done that business and worked with many of the index providers such as FTSE Russell. But over time, now we're starting to see with the advent of technology and more players entering the game, we're starting to see more of those platforms be able to offer a similar solution at a wider scale, also bringing it down market to more retail investors.
Now, how should advisors be kind of looking under the hood to really look at the underlying investments?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that you want to think about is index methodology, right? So no two index providers, it's kind of really well thought out that most indexes kind of do the same thing, but actually there's big differentiation between them. At FTSE Russell, we consider ourselves very methodologically driven. Our Russell 1000 index is the largest 1,000 companies based on market cap, and we have a lot of these decisions that are made about how the indexes get constructed. And so that's one of the major things that you want to think about when we're talking about what you're looking at underneath the hood. It's going to be slight variances, right? So some companies are going to be weighted differently depending upon sector, industry, and even what they believe to be how much you want to be in that index, right? But so even right now, like tech considers basically right around 30% or so, right? So you're going to see those kind of high level numbers look pretty much the same across most index providers. But when you really drill down to it, it's going to be about that individual security and how much weighting do you want it to have. And it's also going to be reflected about what that client it wants in their portfolio as well.
So what's the big takeaway here for advisors as they think about direct indexing? How can they leverage this to get the best out of it for their clients?
Yeah, I would say start with your index provider, right? Just start thinking about it from a different angle. Most of the time you work with an asset manager, you're kind of just thinking about what are they providing me from a materials perspective or from a strategy, performance perspective. But at the end of the day, what you really want to do is maybe drill down like we suggested before, which is to say, let's get into what indexes are we using? Is this something that I can easily explain to my client? Is there something in here that actually probably speaks to it a little bit differently? If you're looking at many different versions of an overlay, you're really talking about ESG, you're talking about SRI, you're talking about tax management. All those things can be layered to get you to a smaller universe. But at the end of the day, what you need to do is start with probably a larger universe to get to that smaller universe. And you don't always want it to be based on large cap stocks all the time. Maybe you want to think about small cap, mid caps, other indexes, thematics, factors, all the things that have already been created actually exist in the universe for the institutional world that we can now bring to the wealth management world and say for individual investors, for everybody who's just trying to, kind of maximize their opportunities either as an advisor or as an end client, now you have another player in the game to help you enhance your value proposition.
Avita, some great insights. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
For Edge TV, I'm Matt Ackermann.